Why, hello, my internet friends. So good to see you. Welcome to the Rigel Show. We're coming to you live from Austin, Texas, in my backyard, in my Earth Dome, which is also known to some as my mystical driftwood fort on the sandy beach of the cosmic navel. I know that's a lot to take in, but it's real. It's a real place. And I think it also runs through everyone's belly button. So just throwing that out there. It's also a place where song runs through all of reality. This space is a playful Theotokian riparian zone that seeks to integrate traditional values, modern values, progressive postmodern values, and that which is emerging on the horizon of the evolution of culture and consciousness, postmodern values. Okay, this is a place where failure is the key to mastery. All right. So today I am going to enter the cosmic navel by sharing a little video that I literally just cut on my phone. Very rough, but kind of fun. It's like a 10-minute video tour of my back fence, which is an art fence, okay? If you want to join me here on camera and watch with me, you're welcome to. Or you can kind of hang out there and then come on afterwards. Either way is fine with me. So just kind of suit yourself, whatever's comfy. All right, so a little tiny backstory on this. I did not explain this in the video, partly because when I was about to, I got cut off by kind of an awkward situation, which we are going to re-experience together. But my wife and I bought our current house with the idea that the back fence could be used as an art fence because it backs up to a really busy street in Austin. It's called Lamar Boulevard. And it's one of the few neighborhoods where you actually back to the busy street. And we thought, oh, this could be like a fun kind of community building art project. And so we had the idea to paint "Beauty Will Save the World." It's a Dostoevsky quote on the back of our fence. And we did it in big black and white letters. I used a projector and got out some, blocky font and traced the letters 60 feet. The phrase is like 60 feet long. So I traced everything out, spray painted it black and white with the idea, hey, Sherry, glad you're here. Nice to see you. We had the idea that it would immediately be tagged, and then we would kind of incorporate the tag by highlighting it with color. And so it'd go from this black and white kind of project to this conversation that's colorful and alive. And what ended up happening is it did get tagged. Like 2 weeks later, it got tagged by some, local gang. Gangs around here aren't like super violent yet, but they spaced their tag perfectly, like centered below our little quote. And it was too nice, but we ended up incorporating it. And we kind of turned some of the letters of the tag into butterflies and other little things, and it created this big, beautiful scene. And some of our neighbors were actually the artists. So we just got a bunch of people in the neighborhood together and did this big art project. And then the idea was, well, why don't we do this on other people's fences? So we got like 5 or 6 people in the neighborhood to do a translation of this quote, "Beauty will save the world," onto their fences as well. We did Croatian, we did Vietnamese, Spanish. There's another one, I think. Anyways, I'm going to show you the video and then we can talk more about this or talk about something else, you know? So here we go. Here's the video. I'll try not to pause it too many times in the middle. All right, Rigel, welcome. Hey, Chad. Nice to see you, buddy. All right, here you go, video. Hey, internet friends. We are going to take a little walk together around to the back of our property where we installed an art fence, okay? So it's really... Oh God, pause. Okay, so just so you know, the first iteration of this was like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, I think. Okay, I did not make that clear in the video. This is a one-take video. All right, here we go. Really hot right now, and I've got my little raven hat on. That raven there. We're just gonna take a little walk through the neighborhood, and maybe I'll stop and share some of my emotions and hot takes on what's happening. See, part of the ethos of this neighborhood is we are right on the fringe of kind of civilization and that artistic in between, that liminal space, that riparian zone, if you will, where kind of chaos meets our everyday lives. Now we're coming up on our backyard. This is the original fence. As you can see, paint is peeling off. This thing is falling apart. So, all right, I'm done. Can you tell what this says? It's the last word. The world save. Oh, look at that. Well, looky here. Someone set a little treasure up here. Just gonna leave that right there. It's a nice little treasure. All right, so here's our art fence. I just used scrap metal that I found around the city and turned them into letters. We have B, couple of saw blades, and some rebar. That rebar I found on the side of Highway Interstate 35. This is a snare drum that a friend left with me, and I used it until it broke. And then I was like, I'm not throwing this away. Use this as a letter. So what I did is I took this little, see that little steel plate right there? That came from the side of a washing machine that I found on the side of the road in our neighborhood. I ground that paint, it was white paint, I ground it down so it's shiny smooth, gave it a clear coat, and then I attached it with my MIG welder. Okay. Coming over to the A here. This A is made up of my grandpa's saw. Okay, this metal, you can't buy this type of metal anymore. This is like maybe pre-World War I metal. Okay. This is a real saw. That's a real saw right there. This little part of the A, that's gonna be just the stake from a real estate sign. Ground that shit down so it's shiny as can be. Over to the U, That's the T. This is an old Maddox. Top of Maddox, just ground that down. So satisfying to grind rust off of beautiful steel and just watch it glimmer and shine in the sunshine. This wiring here, see these beautiful colors? That is the wiring from the washing machine that I found on the side of the road in my neighborhood. And I just thought those colors were so beautiful. Why throw them away when you can just kind of melt them together into a beautiful, just inclusive rainbow of plurality. So the Y, this is the Y. This is like some sort of armature in the suspension of a car. I think it might be like a Subaru, like the fork that the steering rods, something or other, go into. I don't really know, but my mechanic said I could have them, you know, so I took it. And this is kind of a fun feature. Notice how it kind of forms a little bit of a face up here. These little guys look like eyes. But when I was grinding that down, I noticed that there was this little fun pattern built right into this. And so I ground it down, ground the edges down really shiny and smooth, and then left those little ridges here, created like a little iris. Just want to preserve that, you know? Why grind that down when you can preserve it? So I did that. Another fun feature is this piece was actually turned 90 degrees. So I think it was facing out. I can't remember, but it was turned 90 degrees, and I chopped it right here, turned it facing out so it looks like a friendly little face, and then I just welded it down and then ground it down so it looks really pleasant, like it was just meant to be that way. And then I just attached this whole thing to kind of a unruly little piece of, I think that's exhaust pipe. That Y has kind of a mind of its own. Maybe that is kind of the shape of curiosity when you're asking questions like why, or like when a 4-year-old is like asking you questions to the point of despair. It's hard to describe why, the meaning of life to a 4-year-old, because at some point that's where why leads. So maybe that represents that inner journey. Okay, one last little thing. So when we originally built this fence. Okay, I have just to warn the audience, my audience of 5 out there. Thank you all. I love each and every one of you. Just want to prepare you. This next little section is like PG-13. Okay. So just want to kind of prepare you and your family. Maybe if you're just like kind of watching with your family, the Rigel show, this is the time that you're going to want to have a conversation with your children. Okay. I just got 2 more followers. Dang it. That's how the algo works. Okay. All right. They left. Here we go. It said beauty. We painted beauty here. We painted "Beauty will save the world." It's a Dostoevsky quote. And then where beauty was on the fence, someone crashed into it, and we had to replace that part of the fence. And then after we replaced it, one of the original artists came and painted love where the beauty was. But here's the thing, love is a little bit it's a little bit like you can't argue with love will save the world. That's just it's not fair. There's no real conversation or discussion. So basically we put beauty here originally. How's it going, bro?
Hey.
Yeah.
You're on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like everybody.
I know, it's a freaking phone. Have a good one, bro. All right. Well, I'm gonna just kind of move on this way. That was a little bit on the scary side. So in case you didn't hear, the guy, he yelled at me for being on the phone, using words that are, PG. I would maybe even say rated R at this point. So, but I have some like reflections on this moment. We're just kind of, we're taking everything in stride here. So again, on the fringes of society, this ribbon, this riparian ribbon of civilization and creative chaos. It's a little risky, you know? There is risk here. And he was mad at me for being on my phone, but he's kind of right. Why? That's a big question. Why am I doing this? So, it's nice having this chat with you. I'm gonna just kind of book it back to my side of the fence where things are a little more predictable and reliable. But can't get too attached to that because we're right on the edge. Sometimes we're on the edge. When you're on the edge, it bleeds through. Okay? Let's bleed through together. Okay. That's the video about beauty will save the world. Will beauty save the world? What is beauty? You know? Those are things. The bleeding edge. Here, I'll read. Luke, I'm loving all of your comments. The bleeding edge maybe should be my new motto, tagline. Yeah, dude. I'm there with you, Luke. Let's bleed through together. Hashtag. Yeah, we should start that together. Okay, y'all, do you want to come on here and chat with me? You're welcome to. Because I don't really have anything else to say about that, except I can say a little bit more about what happened to this fence. Okay, so what's interesting that happened is after we got like 4 or 5 fences painted, one of the neighbors was kind of pissed that we did this. And Sherry!
I brought my crayon. No.
Oh my goodness. Wonderful. I was just going to say one last little detail about this fence process, which is really an ongoing process because, I mean, I think I'm going to be beautifying this fence for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. But what happened is when we finished this project and we're like so happy about how inclusive and neighborhood building, community building we are, one of the neighbors was like, this is dumb. And she sent me a nasty email, and then she painted a giant stop sign on her back fence that said, stop sign,
yeah,
gentrification. And she thought that we were hipster washing the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, and so but the irony is, as soon as she did that, she created this like fence art conversation, which just makes it even more hip. So we ended up, having this like interesting conversation out there. I think even PBS came out and did a little mini documentary on this. Yeah. And
Well,
anyways, it's interesting how this has grown and evolved. But now that it's kind of ugly, the fence is broken down. We're gonna have to replace it soon. But I've decided I want to redo all the letters with metal art, which is my new kind of thing. Yeah. So, Sherry, nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
What's kind of bubbling up for you?
Oh, there's a lot of, you just described your neighbor's reaction, right? So you do a thing and you have a story that goes with the thing. And then your neighbor looks at it and she has a totally different story,
Yeah.
a totally different narrative. Same thing, two sides.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conversation happens. This is just my poetic take. The conversation starts to happen on two fences. Boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. And what does a fence do? Keeps things out.
Yeah. Keeps things out, keeps things in.
Keeps things in. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the world that we live in. This is life, right? And I'm sure that after your altercation there on the street, you were pretty happy to get on the other side of that fence.
I was. My heart was pounding. But it was mystical because I'm out here talking about love and beauty and, I was kind of put in my place a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, I listened to the Substack yesterday and it was so good. It was written by a guy who is a new age person, new ager kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very inclusive in his religious outlook, probably more mystical than anything else. And, but he's not calling himself a Christian or anything, And he did this Substack. Let me just see the title of it. He did this Substack called, oops. The COVID vaccine and the spiritual war for humanity. And I was like, click.
Yeah.
Because first of all, the way that he frames his title, it's a put off to just about, a large portion of the population, actually. Even if you're, even if you're not a pro-vax person, I think everybody's been like, they've had it up to here, right? And so, but for me, when I read the title, I was like, oh, okay, interesting, because this would be, by necessity, because of the passage of time, a rumination. And there's a whole different constitution to something that has been ruminated on. So I read it, and he talked about spiritual warfare, basically. And it was, I don't even know where to begin with it, because it was, he pulled a lot from an anthroposophic clairvoyant author who's well known in anthroposophic circles, who wrote a book on it. So he pulled a lot of information from that guy. He talked about astral bodies, etheric bodies. He talked about the passage of the soul after death, what happens to the soul after death, why do souls remain earthbound, what is reincarnation. Like, it was incredibly thorough. And but I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that, like the fence, the title acts like a fence. Okay, the COVID vaccine and the spiritual war for humanity. It's a boundary, and for a lot of people, crossing that boundary is just absolutely out of the question at this point in time.
Yeah.
But when you cross the boundary, and here's the thing, you can't really sit on the fence. You have to go over it and be in the other territory. And it's an unknown territory, right? And so as soon as that happens, you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Those are just some wild thoughts that were floating around while I was watching your fence video.
Yeah. No, I mean, fences are just, it's such a like potent metaphor.
Well, wait, let me just add this. So because I had read that article, when that guy appeared in your video, it was no surprise to me. Because here's the deal. I just watched a great video with Jordan Hall and Gray Hamilton about, and he said, how did he title it?
It's beauty, like beauty is the new war, or beauty is war, or something like that.
The art of war, or something to that effect. So literally, you're standing in a war zone.
Yeah.
Okay. When you cross over the fence, and you've made your declaration, right? That's your declaration on the fence. You're almost inviting that kind of thing to come in, and it will, because first of all, it's an offense to it, right? And this might sound really crazy, but I actually had the thought, what if Rigel hadn't been on his phone? Did you being on your phone hinder him from doing something violent to you? And is that why he was angry? Because he couldn't do his thing that he wanted to do because you were on your phone and he didn't know?
Yeah. No,
right?
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. So just to say, we often want to condemn ourselves for our usage of technology, but perhaps the usage of the technology and the desire to bring beauty into the world, which is all happening on your video, was what saved your life.
Yeah.
And that is beauty. And that is the world. Okay. So we could have been watching beauty save the world right at that moment. Right now.
Yeah.
That's some thoughts.
No, those are good. That's great. I mean, I'm also not surprised that happened when it did, because it's predictable how often these little things like flurries of resistance kind of come up in very like potent moments of trying to express beauty or know God or something like that. I forgot what I was going to say, but I'll come back to it when I do. The one thought I had about fences is they are also they keep people out, they keep people in, they kind of define a space, but they also can be a destination for play. And literally, if you go to a playground that does not have a fence, if you just put kids in the middle of a field, they will clump together and do something right there, kind of in the dirt. But if there's a fence, they will go out to the fence and explore it and like climb on it and jump off of it, and it becomes like part of their play. I'm getting tingles thinking about that.
You know what? My sheep do the exact same thing.
No way.
Yeah. So I take my sheep out of their pasture and I invite them with me to go for a walk. And at first, they're excited about the variety of plants that they don't have
Yeah.
access to. And then they're okay in the forest, but the forest is like a fence,
Hmm.
right? Like because there are no edges, right? They're in the thing. It's like the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. Okay.
Hmm.
You don't
Hmm.
see the edges. And then they walk with me all the way back to the lake. As soon as we get to the lake, it opens up and they just stop dead in their tracks.
Wow.
Okay. And this is a really fascinating topic because prey animals are afraid of clearings because they're too visible. And what's so visible about them is their flaws. Okay. So predators will take the sick and the weak and the young and the old. And as long as they're in a forest, that those lines are blurred. But when they get into the open, it becomes very obvious who those ones are. Okay. Because they can be held, as individuals within that setting, right? The predator can see the lamb. The predator can see the old ewe. The predator can see the one who's limping. Okay. And that's who they're going to target. And so clearings are really, really scary for prey animals, horses, everything. And they always approach them. They don't never approach them in a straight line. They approach them at an angle.
Hmm.
So they do this, right?
Yeah.
Um, this is something that biologists have observed in like Africa, where they've had their drought season, and then suddenly it starts raining, and these areas fill up with water, and the animals will come to the water, but they don't drink, and they could never figure out why. Why wouldn't they just go drink? They
Hmm.
come to the water like this for a long time, okay?
Hmm.
Because they're approaching. There could be an alligator in that water. There could be a lion in the grass. There's all kinds of things. If they just moved in a straight line, they also moving in a straight line reveals their weaknesses. If they're
Hmm.
limping and they move in a straight line, it's obvious. But if
Right.
they're limping and they move at an angle, right? Anyway,
Yeah. No, it's like an obfuscation of their.
I could go
Uh,
on and on and on and on about this, but yeah,
yeah.
just fascinating stuff.
Well, okay. So back to the fence metaphor, and what were you? We were talking about how,
Children in a playground.
yeah, children in a playground, and then sheep,
Yeah.
and it made me think of the creative process and how, like creating a fence of limitations around whatever your medium is actually like invites more creativity. And I can't, we've probably talked about this, but there's all kinds of exercises in like art, all forms of art. It's all about like so many
Constraint.
exercises are designed to create some sort of limitation to kind of force the creativity to
Right.
flow.
Right. Yeah. There's a really good book. I've never read it. I bought it for my son though. And it's written by I think the guy was in advertising or something like that, a creative
Hmm.
person. It's called The Beauty of Constraint. And he
Yeah.
talks all about this, right? And I remember at the time, like this is like, oh gosh, my son is what, 30, I don't know what he is, 1988, something, 30 something.
Mm.
Um, and I sent it to him in his second year of post-secondary education because he was working in audio engineering, right? And that's something as a young person that we really struggle with. It's like, if only I had all the colors or all the sounds, I need a bigger thing because I don't have enough sounds on my synthesizer or whatever the case might be, right?
Yeah.
Um, just thought of something. So a harpsichord doesn't have as many keys as a piano, right?
I'm going to trust you on
Yeah.
that. I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah.
I just wonder what kind of beauty erupts out of the harpsichord as a result of the constraint on the number of notes you can play on it, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff
Well,
like that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I can just riff on that for a second because I have had several keyboards in the past
Mhm.
that are like they're shorter keyboards. They're like 66 or 76 key keyboards just for like gigging. I mean, I have one, but I've used them for like kind of travel keyboards, or I don't want to set up the whole big, weighted keyboard, and I just want to like throw something in the living room and have a little jam session or something like that. And what I find is it forces me to like open up space for other people to play. Like if I'm limited in my range, the keyboard is such an interesting instrument because you are the entire orchestra, or
Right.
you're the band. But when you bring it down, or like a lot of times I would play the melodica, which is just like,
Really?
an octave and a half, 2 octaves, you blow through it, and it's very limited. It's just basically the right hand of the piano, which is like the chords. And yeah, it changes. Like I then become, well, there's multiple limitations happening on that.
Mhm.
There's like I can't see what I'm doing as well, so I'm kind of limited by what I can do from feel, and then there's just the actual range limits, kind of the expanse of what I can do, and it's one hand. I'm playing with one hand, and I'm used to playing with two, so that all.
Yeah, constraint. Well, spiritual, from a spiritual perspective, what I've always thought about in light of constraint, you know, so I heard about this book by listening to a series of podcasts about creativity and constraint. So I had some kind of an idea about what the book was talking about, and I thought, well, okay, so if we are created by God, then what? And we are co-creators with God, then there, in order to create out of a place of vulnerability, we have to have some natural constraints. So what would they be, right? And I thought, well, first of all, our bodies, like we are totally constrained by our bodies, right? And then the other one I would say is time. We live within time. So we have a beginning and an end, right? We live within a frame. Like here,
Yeah.
like, oops, like that. There we are.
Yes. Oh my
Right?
God. Have you heard the Tom Waits song Ever Since I Put Your Picture in a Frame?
Oh no.
Oh
Oh,
my God. Well, I'll just play you like a tiny little bit, just give you a little taste.
yeah.
Can you hear my piano?
Yeah.
Okay. Sun come up, it was blue and gold. Sun come up, it was blue and gold. Sun come up, it was blue and gold. Ever since I put your picture in a frame. And he goes on and he uses that ever since I put your picture in a frame with each verse. I come calling in my Sunday best. I come calling in Sunday best ever since I put your picture in a frame. I love you, baby. Ever since I put your picture in a frame. And it's like he's framing this space with this line.
Yes.
Ever since I put your picture in a frame.
Beautiful.
And
Great.
this was the song. This is our wedding first dance song.
Oh, beautiful.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so when I think about the body and time as our constraints on our co-creativity, that actually is to me more of a hopeful frame of what it is to be human,
Wait,
right?
say that one more time. I was lost in picture in a frame still. I was still back in the frame.
Yeah. Well,
Say
no,
that one more time.
when I think about our constraints of our bodies and time as a an impetus for our co-creativity with God, it gave me more of a positive outlook on those two things, on time and my body. You know, because a lot of people who get religion, whether you know it's a kind of whatever kind of religion it is, the body is often degraded. Like it has to come down a notch, right? It's the thing you're trying to escape from because it's a constraint. And so it feels like a prison. Um, yeah. You know, John O'Donohue posed the question, or actually, where is it here? I think
Yeah,
I
bring
read
it.
it. I think I read it to you one time. It's a poem that he wrote. Let's see. John O'Donohue. Here we go. Oh no, it's here. Here. The old notion of the soul being hidden somewhere deep within the body serves only to intensify the loneliness of love, of the love act, as the attempt of two solitudes to bridge the distance between them. But, however, when we understand that the body is in the soul, intimacy and union seem unavoidable, because the soul, as the radiance of the body, is already entwined with the lover before ever the bodies meet. You know,
Wow.
and I've been thinking a lot about that because, yeah, I wrote something recently where I was like, if we believe that the soul is in the body, then we would necessarily feel trapped, right?
Right, but the body is in the
But
soul.
if we believe that the body is in the soul, and this is what I wrote, I don't have it here with me, so I can't read it, but if we believe that the body is in the soul, this is where the lame walk. This is where the blind see. This is where the paralytic, you know, takes up his bed. And what prompted that thought was the idea, or not the idea, but the phenomenon of a lot of people on their deathbed who are literally like unable to walk or move due to a stroke or just, you know, weakness or whatever, drugs, and their body will rise up in strength, in perfect strength before they die.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
wow.
wild. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, I experienced it with my husband when he collapsed. So he was convulsing, right? He was just laying on the ground and just like eyes rolled back in the head, foam coming out of the mouth, gurgling, not breathing, you know, just like kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then dead silence. And then all of a sudden he sits straight up with this huge smile on his face. And he's looking right through me.
Whoa.
And I know he's not looking at me. He's
Yeah.
looking at me, but he's not seeing me. He's looking way past me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this to my neighbor, and she used to work in palliative care. She goes, "Oh, you know what that is? I saw that so many times."
What?
That's when people are moving across, right?
No way.
Yeah. So how do we get here to the body and the constraint thing?
Constraint.
Yeah. Like, so I'm still kind of turning all that stuff around in my mind, because when I realized that a man who's born blind and suddenly can see, his body must be in the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if the soul is eternal, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't think out loud, but anyway.
No, you should hear. I said at the beginning of the show, this is a space where failure is a key to mastery. So even if we stumble down and we're like rolling around in the mud,
Yeah.
it's just play. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it also makes me think of, and I'm now rolling in the mud here too,
Good.
but it makes me think of Theotokos.
Yes.
And like there's this, the physical body is this like its own constraint.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like this another layer of like the body constraint coming in through another body of constraint. So like I'm thinking of the incarnation,
Mm-hmm.
and Christ, the uncontainable, contained in the Theotokos and his own skin. And there's something about birthing here now in fences and frames that I'm like reaching for.
Well, okay, let me just throw this in the mix then.
Okay.
One of the things that became really obvious to me at one point in time was that the narrow gate that we have to pass through, Jesus talks about it, the narrow gate,
Mm-hmm.
is the cervix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So like we're, theoretically, no human being should ever be born. If nothing within the body actually opened up for that moment.
Wow. Yeah.
That no baby would ever be born naturally, right? The body has to change its physiology in order for a child to even come into the world.
Yeah.
That's how narrow that gate is.
And yet the gate,
narrow, not just narrow in its physical sense, but narrow in the sense that if all the conditions around that opening moment are just so, right, it doesn't happen either.
Yeah. And yet when those conditions are right, it like opens for you. There's there's a push and there's a relationship. It doesn't completely open and you fall out. There's a
Not. But this isn't for me relation to your fence, because it acts as a fence, right? Until the moment is right.
Yeah.
And then there's a gate. And
then it becomes
narrow
a gate.
Opens in the fence.
Whoa.
And something is born.
This is rocking my world. The fence and the gate are just like the same thing.
Yes.
Just different kind of states.
Yes. Yes.
This is like a book title. We're solving like all of the problems of the world right now, Sherry.
We're creating more of them. Just depends on your perspective. Yeah. Like your neighbor, right? Who looks at this thing and immediately assumes that you're going to gentrify the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And hates you.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what did somebody wrote on your fence, love? That's the opposite. That's the opposite of love, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so fascinating to me how one thing, uh, here, we'll do this because it's a fun word.
Yeah.
Stapler.
Stapler.
The stapler. The stapler can be, uh, it can be good and it can be evil.
Yeah.
Your fence can be good and it can be evil.
Mm-hmm.
I read something else today. Just a quote from a saint.
Mm-hmm.
He says, it's Saint Isaac, the Syrian.
Mm-hmm.
Humility collects the soul into a single point by the power of silence. A truly humble man has no desire to be known or admired by others, but wishes to plunge from himself into himself to become nothing, as if he had never been born. When he is completely hidden to himself, in himself, he is completely with God. There's a lot of contradiction in that statement.
Yeah. I'm
Depending
like,
on what side of the fence you're standing on. Humility, right? A truly humble man has no desire to be known, but how does he become humble? By knowing himself
yeah.
and diving into himself.
Yeah. This is where I rely heavily on kind of the dance of polarities.
Oh yeah.
And
I was just watching that Rupert Sheldrake video this morning on polarity. That
oh really?
Innate polarity in plants. And he said, the best indicator of that is roots and shoots. Okay.
Really?
Roots
Yeah, of course.
Roots go down and shoots go up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it finished yet, but he was talking about this plant hormone, which I actually use a lot when I transplant things. It's a root hormone that you just, dab your cutting or whatever in and then stick it in the dirt. It just accelerates the rooting process. But this one hormone serves those two purposes, and it either moves down or up.
Mm-hmm.
He used a magnet. So he had a magnet and he pulled, it was actually two magnets. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, here's a magnet. It's got a north and south pole on it, right? He pulls it apart and he goes, now there's two magnets and they each have a north and like they have innate polarity.
Yeah, that is so bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, at what point in that pulling apart, there's like some moment where the one becomes like a fractal.
Well, this is what you said in the beginning with the Theotokos inside her skin.
Yeah.
Right? Christ inside the womb, inside his skin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole birthing thing. Like it is, I think, an image of what fractal is.
Yeah.
Right? Of reality. And but then it's also accompanied with this mind-blowing paradox of polarity.
Yeah. And what's bizarre, okay, so it's so funny we're talking about this because I just ordered some magnets because I am like on a warpath to create a whole bunch of metal dragonflies.
Yo.
That I showed you a while back. And I'm thinking about putting some on magnets that you can put on your fridge, maybe as like a car ornament. You can do anything. I want to create like, mount them on rods that you could put in your garden so that you can kind of position them. But Ozzy and I were playing around with the magnets and one of them broke. They're really strong, like tiny little magnets, but they're super strong. And one broke, and then it was I was like, wait a second. Now they both have
Now they're
a
both.
north and
Now you have
south
two.
side.
Now you have
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
But when you put them back together,
Yeah.
then it returns to this holon of I don't know if that's the right word, but it's
Okay. And so then
I'm
Rupert,
totally
you should watch the video. I got to finish it, but
yeah.
he shows like he made cuttings. So he took a branch, cut it into segments, and every segment had a north and a south pole. Every segment began to make roots and shoots.
Whoa.
Okay.
So are they literally? I mean, it makes me wonder if they're actually responding to the electromagnetic energy running through the earth. Like if they're actually kind of aligning.
If I know him, he's because he's all about fields.
Yeah. I've run across his stuff a little bit. I'm always like, yeah, man, you're on.
The name of the video is "Plant Intelligence is More Mysterious Than You Think." And I'm just like, click.
Yes.
So I walked in. I was listening in my earbuds, and I was out there, and I came in, and I walked past this plant, which I just pinched everywhere because it's just madly in love with growing, and it's getting just a little too exuberant. And so I said, well, we're going to have to just cut you back. And so as I'm listening, he's talking about these segments. I walked past this and I said, I wonder what these are. Because out of every place that I pinched, okay, look, see this? There's two new shoots. See them?
Yeah.
So I pinched it here.
Yep.
And on each side, we have...
Like you pinched it off, right?
I just broke it off.
Yeah, broke it off. Yeah.
I just grab it and do that.
Yep.
Okay? That was like 3 days ago.
Amazing.
So I walked in the door. I'll turn it a little bit because it's... I have to make it bend the other way. And as soon as I looked at that thing, he goes, so if you pinch the top of a plant off, and I'm like, oh, because I just wondered, what are those? You know, and then he hit on it right away. So yeah, it's really interesting.
You're tuned in. I love it when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah. And you know, like he made mention of Goethe in the beginning, like he's doing Goethe's empirical. I mean, what does he call it? Delicate empiricism, right? So he's letting the plant be, and in that he's learning what the plant is doing. Okay, he's not trying to impose himself onto it, and he's coming up with the conclusion that there's an intelligence happening. Okay.
You know what? Now that you're saying this, the All Holy algorithm has also fed me the same video, and I haven't clicked on it yet.
Oh, there you go.
I've actually seen this video coming up in my feed. Hey, Cody.
Hi, Cody.
Nice to see you out there. Feel free to join in.
Yeah, jump in.
You got another 30 minutes.
But, you know, pinching that plant is also a constraint. Now I've introduced a constraint.
Oh, wow.
It's literally like now you need to change your mind. Okay. So you're doing this, you're going in this direction, and now I'm cutting off your direction. So now what? And interestingly enough, it doesn't just make one and like a little detour around my pinch and going straight up. It makes two. I don't know. I never got past, you know, that part, and then I had to go do some other things, so I have to finish it. But
it's interesting. One of the things that my son noticed when we were nature journaling is that that after 2 leaves sprout, a new one comes out through the middle. And I think I can't remember what is, I'm trying to connect this to what you're talking about, and it's
Oh, I
not
think,
working.
well, if a plant is going up,
Hmm.
and it does branch out, like there are different kinds. Like he talked about, he did an experiment with, what did he call them? Monocotyl, something or other, monocotylisms, or I don't remember. But it's plants that just, their new growth starts at the bottom and goes up straight up. So grass, for example.
Hmm.
So when you cut those off, they just keep going straight up. They don't
Okay.
do that, right?
Right.
But then there are dicotyl something or others, whatever, and like a lily. And if you cut that off, it has to make a new shoot, right? So, but anyway, like I said, I didn't finish it, so I haven't gotten to the probably the miraculous portion of this all of his observations, right? That there's some kind of an intelligence going on. So I'm excited to finish
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will watch that one as well.
You know what I forgot to mention last time? This is totally off topic, but I just
Say
wanted
it. Yeah, we can shift gears. We're just flex flow.
I just wanted to let you know that Ethan came to visit me.
No, what?
Ethan and his fiance. Yeah, they came and spent 2 nights here.
Oh, because they're coming back. Were they coming
Driving.
through?
Yeah, they were making their way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they spent 2 nights and it was fantastic. It was really, really special to have
Oh,
someone here.
yeah.
You know? Yeah. It was great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Ethan, if you're out there,
I think
you're
Ethan's
here.
probably like full. I haven't heard a word from him, and I think he's probably like just getting into. I don't know when his wedding date is. I can't remember. But
Yeah.
he's getting married any minute.
Yeah. It's all consuming in
Yeah,
those kind of countdown weeks.
and the move and all that kind of thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
So much.
he'll be a whole different kind of guy when he appears again. All married up.
To become one. It's interesting because for the 2 magnets to then become one, you have to line up the positive with the negative, which is this.
Yeah,
I mean, that is the dance of the polarity, is like bringing. I mean, that's where both. I mean, socially, emotionally, relationally, when that positive negative come together,
okay.
it can like hurt a little bit. Sparks happen, but it's also how this new kind of synthesis is born.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of something I mentioned in a recent here. I think
While you're finding that, I want to think about what the polarity of humility is when we're done.
yeah. Here. Polarity, okay?
Okay.
This is the troparion. It's from my parish in Kamloops. August 1st, the beginning of our journey towards the Feast of the Door mission. May the Holy Mother shelter all of us. Troparion, in giving birth, you preserved your virginity. In falling asleep, you did not forsake the world. O Theotokos.
Oh my God.
You were translated to life, O Mother of Life. And by your prayers, you deliver our souls from death. The whole thing is antinomy. The whole thing is North and South poles.
Yeah.
Magnet.
Yeah. I can't remember. There's an akathist to the Theotokos where it literally says you bring together opposites.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what a lot of people have difficulty with. How does God fit into a womb, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, that's one of
Yeah.
my favorite topics.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised that we're talking about this on the Dormition of the
Yeah.
Theotokos today.
Yes. Is it
So
today?
I think so.
It is. It is. I didn't even know what the date was.
The door and the fence,
Wow. And the gate and
the
the narrow
gate,
gate
the narrow way.
and all of your mandorlas. Hello.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm, I'm all in on this, Sherry. It's so
Yeah.
fun too. That's the thing is like, it's just fun to bring these opposites together.
Well, I find like I'm never satisfied with anything I write until I can bring the opposite into the thing, right? It's
Oh,
like
wow.
to me it's not a poetry if it isn't trying to reconcile opposites. And it's not like I'm like determined to do this when I write it. It's just that when I write something, if that doesn't happen, then it feels contrived. And I realized that I think I wrote something here.
Yeah. Share a little bit of your process and how that shows up. I think
I
it'd be
don't
really interesting.
I don't remember where I put it though. Let me just see. Mm, mm. Hmm. I don't know where I put it, but just something about that's what a poet is always faced with is this antinomy in paradox, right? And
Hmm.
trying to reconcile paradox. Um,
Yeah.
well, I'll read you a little something that I just
Please,
found that I wrote recently.
let's do it.
I keep having this one thought:
Hmm.
do not stand at the gates and weep. Enter in. That
Yes.
that's one thing that just has been so I jotted that down. And then I wrote, I've taken the summer to swing between holiday and home. I'm finding it difficult. For one thing, I never want to leave one place for the other. If I'm home, I don't want to go to the tent. And if I'm at the tent, I don't want to go home. Mostly, I don't want to go home. But my animals and my husband call to me from unseen realms, and I pack up my things to leave for the day, knowing that it will be more than a day before I return. I think I might set aside a couple of days where I just stay put as if I wasn't really here. I've decided I want to finally learn how to draw, so I practiced straight lines, curved lines, square circles, and triangles. I was pleasantly surprised because I truly believed I couldn't draw, but to my astonishment, my straight lines were straight and my circles were perfectly joined and round. That's as far as I got.
I love it.
I'm finding out that it's not that I can't draw, but I can't see. I have never been one to pay attention to detail. The whole has always been greater than the parts for me. Looks like I have a task ahead of me. I dread it and look forward to it at the same time. Perhaps I'll be able to welcome a part of me, my additional soul, who has long waited in the wings to be noticed. I certainly want to throw the pencil down, crunch up the paper, and find something I know how to do, but that would be a childish way to resolve the tension. So I'm going to push through. I want to draw the spirit. I had a dream and saw his face. I wonder if I saw him because he wanted me to draw, to be who I always already am. I just learned that the oldest instrument made by human hands was a flute made of a hollow bone of a bird. How appropriate that this human should desire to trill a song from the bone of the triller. hollow as it already was, as if made for song, designed by God to keep us ever in the green of springtime, even in the dead of winter starvation. Starving not only for song, but also for food, rejoicing at the prospect of an afterlife filled with abundance. The hollow bone made to give us continuous song, because only continuous praise is true, capital T. True, upright, integer, whole, steadfast, pillar of truth, found in the body of beauty itself, the bird, the winged one, angels.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where can you go back through there? And I was just letting it wash over me.
Yeah.
But do you see any kind of polarities in there or opposites coming together?
Yeah. Well, in the last part about the bone,
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, read that part again.
in order to play the bone, you need a dead bird.
Yeah,
Okay. Which means you have no song because
yeah,
the bird is dead.
yeah,
Okay. Let's just be honest. Okay. You need a dead bird.
yeah.
I just learned that the oldest instrument made by human hands, and this is true, okay,
Hmm.
was a flute made of a hollow bone of a bird. So birds have hollow bones.
Hmm.
That enables them to fly because
Yeah,
they're light. It also makes them very prone to death because they bleed out very, very quickly because
yeah,
they are hollow boned. Um, how appropriate that this human should desire to trill a song from the bone of the triller.
yeah. Okay, that's where I thank you. That's amazing.
And hollow as it already was, as if made for song, designed by God to keep us ever in the green of springtime, even in the dead of winter, right? Winter starvation, starving not only for song, because all the birds are gone,
Hmm.
which I really actually miss. Like as soon as my November is the worst month of the year for me
Hmm.
because it's the last triller is left and it's just silent. Everything is just in this like it's impending doom really because it's quiet, the leaves are gone, it's frosty, and you don't know what it's like being in the eye of the hurricane. You don't know what winter's going to be like, if it's going to come with a vengeance or
Hmm.
the hollow bone made to give us continuous song because they never the birds leave. Our songs go when they go. My songs go here. But the bone is continuous. You can play it whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
Because only continuous praise is true.
Wow.
True, upright, integer, whole, steadfast, pillar of truth, found in the body of beauty itself. A bird, if anyone ever talks, any scientist, biologist ever talks about beauty, they go immediately into the world of birds.
Yeah.
Found in the body of beauty itself.
Hmm. Wow.
The bird, the winged one, angels.
Yeah. Thanks for breaking that down. I have a hard time sometimes absorbing poetry if I'm not looking at it,
Yeah.
and lyrics for songs. Like I have to be looking at lyrics for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool to see how many moments of
Well, when I watched the documentary on the first human instrument made by human hands, and I don't know how old it is. I can't remember. It's really, really old. I mean, it's the first one found. Who knows if it's the very first one? But it goes back the furthest. I was like, wow, this is a living, this is an antinomy, man. Like a flute
yeah.
made out of the bone of a bird. That's what, that's, that's why I think like that thought, do not stand at the gates and weep, enter in. It's really hard to enter into that kind of stuff, Rigel. Paradox.
It is, yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you, I'm not clear on what the difference between antinomy and paradox is. Do
Nothing.
you kind of just use them interchangeably, or what? What's your,
I would. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not entirely sure what their perfect definitions are, but
yeah, yeah,
like for me, like the perfect illustration of a paradox is the burning bush,
okay, yeah,
right? Because which is why the Theotokos and the burning bush are,
right,
equivalent in the sense that they're both paradoxes, right? So the
right,
fire should consume the bush, but it doesn't.
yeah,
And with the Theotokos, she's described as the burning bush. She's also portrayed as the burning bush because the infinite doesn't
should
consume
consume, yeah,
doesn't consume the finite.
yeah,
So,
which means
and
that the infinite and the finite are, they're like connected somehow.
well, they're polar opposites.
Yeah, that's it. They're just, yeah,
But nothing is true until it's, like the magnet, right, has these polar opposites. When you take it apart, you don't have two separate ends. You have two new magnets because polarity is what's true. In other words, paradox is what's true.
it's a higher level of truth. Yeah,
Well, it's the true, right?
yeah,
It always and already is. It's like when your magnet broke,
yeah,
right? It is a magnet. It is two magnets. It is, four magnets.
yeah.
It's always, and
That
actually,
is such a great, like, just embodied, visceral understanding of paradox as ultimate
true.
reality or
Well,
ultimate truth.
I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, and I'm just thinking like here, just dawning on me, the hollow bone made to give us continuous song. This is the thing with the magnet. The magnet is continuous. It's eternal, right? It's never not a magnet. There's never a moment where it doesn't have two poles.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's continuous because only continuous praise is true, is what I wrote. Right. So the bird sings, he dies, a human takes the bone and continues the song. It never, and who brought them the song? The bird. The bird brought them the song. So this line of continuity is the true. It's not discontinuous ever, right? It's continuous. So then I just went straight into true, integer. Like I'm just stream of consciousness here.
Free association. Yeah.
True, upright, integer, whole, steadfast, pillar, right? Pillar of truth, found in the body of beauty itself, the bird, the winged one, angels. So, yeah. What's also coming to mind is when John O'Donohue talks about death, and he talks about it as the only thing that is not continuous. It's like it is. How does he put it? Let me see here. It's really good. On this note, where is it now? It's not here. 1 second. Sorry, Rigel.
That's all right.
Here it is. 'So he says, 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 'So he Okay, so he's talking about dying. He's talking about what it means to die and the pathos of the dying one, because they're leaving behind everything they ever knew, their body,
Hmm.
the world. He was a Catholic priest for 16 years, and so he says, whenever anyone was dying, they called me up, and I would, come and send the sins whistling.
Yes.
So he sat by a lot of deathbeds, and it really um, became a very beautiful thing to him. So he says here, um, your body is actually your clay house in the world. It's where you live, and to think that at the moment of death, you're going to suffer a double loss, the loss of the world and the loss of your body, and at the same moment, you will be forced out of both worlds. This is why there is no other event in the world like death. There is no severing, no cut like death. Because no matter how great a discontinuity might be in your experience, you always take up somewhere else, and there is no discontinuity that is total like. Well, mostly there isn't. In trauma, sometimes there can be, but usually there are always secret tendrils of connection and continuity, even between experiences that seem disparate and discontinuous. But death is totally different. There's no continuity when you look at it. The cut is made and there's no continuing on. It's an amazing total kind of discontinuity. And it's very strange for that reason to try to come to terms with the disappearance of a loved one, because, like a wave that withdraws in one sweep from the shoreline, the person's spirit just departs. And with the departure of the person's spirit, everything else collapses. The memory goes, the breath goes, the body goes, the thought goes, arrows, dreams, eyes, touch, they all collapse with the actual vanishing of the spirit. And nowhere else in creation does an ending take so much in one strike. And then he says, if someone were to say to me, what's the most remarkable thing you've ever heard? I would have to say the most remarkable thing I've ever heard is that there is death. Which, if the true is continuous and death is discontinuity, that would make it the enemy of the true, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
And so you must have to trample it in a continuous manner. This is just
Hmm.
all flooding to me at the moment.
Bring it.
You'd have to trample it in a continuous manner, which means you would have to trample death by death, because that would be the continuous thing to do.
Wow.
Whoa. I'm going to have to write this down somewhere.
You need to write that down, Sherry.
I had completely forgotten that thing I wrote about the bird.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
All because of your silly fence.
All because of my silly fence. It's amazing how
Yeah.
that
And
thing has.
I don't mean it. I'm not seriously calling it silly.
Yeah.
It's a well, it's not just the fence that brought this on. It's also the polarity of the encounter that you had at the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I mean, silly, absurd. There's an absurdity. There's a silliness to the
Well, yeah.
paradox. And
Let's call it mirth.
yeah. Yeah.
Mirth. I love that, because there's something
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
like treasurable about mirth, right?
Yeah.
You want to have that, don't you?
Yeah. And isn't that why we laugh when we like experience? It's like the moment of experience of the parrot. It's like, I was not expecting that.
It's an
And
irony. It's an irony.
yeah.
It's a polarity. It's a polarity.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so lovely hanging out with you, Sherry.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I love it.
for any of those who are out there watching now or asynchronously, I will be going to Midwestuary next week, and look forward to meeting
Oh,
everybody.
it's next week.
I know. It's just like snuck
Wow.
right up. Oh my gosh.
Cool. That's going to be so exciting. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could go to the Southeast U area as well, because that one I'm like drooling over some of the speakers. But, you know, I can only, maybe I'll do that one next year.
I don't know if there'll be another one of those, but
Yeah.
I think Dave's at his limit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. First of all, for me, it's location.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a city girl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's, I mean, I'm excited about it, and it's also small, and I'm like that. I like small, and
Yeah.
so I'm really looking forward to it. I wasn't planning to go anywhere this year.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of spent, you know, a couple of years worth of holidays when I went to Switzerland and visited my kids,
Mm-hmm.
because I love to spoil them. So
Yeah.
I spend too much money, and so it's like, no, not going anywhere next year, Sherry.
Yeah. Go rein it in.
Save it up.
Save it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a lovely rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
See
Yeah,
the
you
paradox. I'm going to be looking for roots and shoots everywhere now.
watch that. Finish that shelter.
Yeah.
Thing.
No, I'm gonna watch that next. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
make myself some lunch,
Yum yum.
listen to Sheldrake, and
Cool.
yeah. Thanks for just your steadfastness here with me, Sherry.
Oh, this is very nourishing for me, Rigel. Like, I actually got to think out loud here today with you, and it was revelatory, and I live for that.
Yeah.
I live for it.
All right.
All right.
Till next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.